Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope that you guys are having an amazing holiday season. I cannot believe that quarter four is coming to an end. We are about to hit into a new year, which I can't believe it. It feels like this year flew by. Always say that every year, but gets crazy. And I hope that you guys are all staying sane because it gets kind of crazy at this time of year for many small business owners. So hopefully you all are staying sane. But right now, a lot of us are getting into preparations for the new year. We're trying to think, how can we have success in the new year? What can we do differently in the new year? How can we save money in the new year? So that's what we're going to be talking about today is ways to save money as a small business owner. And I'm going to give you guys some tips and things that have worked great for me in my business and ways that you can save thousands and thousands of dollars a year on your business. We all know how important it is to be mindful of the money that's coming in and out of your business because that can truly cut into your profits if the money's going into wasteful areas. But good news is there are things that you can do about it, and there are ways that you can save money, and that way you can have capital to then reinvest in the growth of your business. So in today's video, I'm going to go over 10 tips of ways that you can save money, things that I've utilized within my business, or just some tips in general that can save you lots and lots of money. So without further ado, let's get into the first tip. All right, so tip number one, first and foremost, I want you to sit down and I want you to make a budget for your business. Why is this important? It is because we need to know the money that is being moved around in our business. A lot of times people jump into business and they don't really sit down and make a plan. They just kind of throw their products out there, kind of pick a price point, and then just go with the flow, right? But honestly, that's not the best business plan, you guys. And I will know this because my first year, I didn't really make a budget. I didn't make a business plan. I just kind of put my products on there, kind of guesstimated a price. And then guess what? Come tax time, I found out how much less, little bit of money that I was actually profiting. So sitting down and creating a budget is super important. So let me explain to you how to do that. So number one, you're going to calculate your gross revenue first, which is the money coming in before your expenses. You're going to make a chart showing different areas of your business that you spend money. For example, ad spending, supplies and material cost, packaging cost, subscriptions, etc. If you already know what you're spending, you're going to list them out and see how much you're spending on each category. This will give you a good idea of your net profits, so your money after your expenses, and we're going to cover a few things today which will help you in determining ways that you can cut down some of those costs. This leads us into our next category. Tip number two, pricing your products incorrectly can make or break sales and in turn will cut into your profits significantly. And like I said before, if you just kind of throw a product out there without knowing how much it costs you to make the product and how much it is going to cost fees, shipping, material costs, all of that, you have no idea how much profit you're making. So if you price too low, like I said, you're gonna not make good profits. And if you price too high, you are going to probably not get views on your listings, which in turn will hurt your shop, which in turn will have no sales. So pricing your products at that perfect little sweet spot and being able to get the visual eyes on your products and in turn having good SEO and all those things can then have sales, and you know that you're actually making money and you're getting the sales, and in turn it just kind of works out, right? So I'm going to explain to you today how to price your products in short, giving you a little bit of an example. So first things first, you're going to get a general idea of what other people in a similar niche are selling their products for. You can browse Etsy and other marketplaces to get a general idea of this. Just make sure that you are paying attention to things like shipping cost when you're calculating this number. You're going to get an idea of several similar sellers and list the numbers you get. Another thing to keep in mind is some of these sellers are undercutting their prices, have cheaper materials or less overhead, but right now you're just getting a general idea of what customers are paying right now for your products. Number two, you're going to get an idea of how much it costs you to make this item. Use some basic math to calculate your total cost of your materials and supplies. Number three, you're going to calculate shipping costs to ship your item. You're going to mock ship your item. This includes taking the item, packaging it up, and then getting some basic dimensions and weight for your item. There are a lot of shipping calculators online, like Pirate Ship, where you can see how much it would cost to ship with these measurements. You're going to enter the furthest zip code from you along with closer zip codes to get kind of an average shipping number. This will give you a shipping cost. Number four, you are then going to see some numbers after calculating your materials and shipping cost, See how much the fees will cost to price your item at the rate you're thinking. Let's use an example. Keep in mind, this is not exact numbers, or if you shop in bulk, this is just an example. So I want to sell a t-shirt. The average cost I see on Etsy for the type of shirts I want to sell are about $19 to $25. This is after shipping is added. Shipping cost is usually free, but sometimes is added onto the cost to give me this total number. So the numbers I'm giving you are with shipping costs and all added on. My material cost would be $5 for a shirt, $1 for the design, 15 cents for poly bags, and around 20 cents for mailers. 10 cents for the label, 10 cents for the thank you card, 25 cents for freebies. This gives me a material cost of $6.08. It costs me an average of $4.50 to ship one t-shirt. Materials plus shipping equals $11.30. Let's say that you were thinking $21 to sell your product for. Use an Etsy fee calculator, and that gives you around $2.44 in Etsy fees, which is $13.74 in fees. Stay with me now. So now, your net profit, if selling at $21, would be $7.26. So that would be your profit after all of your material costs, all of your shipping fees, and everything. You may need to adjust your costs based on many factors, such as how cheap you can get your shirts and materials, how much profit are you comfortable making, etc. This may not be worth it to you, so you need to maybe charge a little bit more, maybe charge a little bit less, depending on the product that you sell. And if you're charging too little, you're cutting into your profits. If you sell for too much, you may not get the sales you want. So guys, this is probably one of the most important things that you can do is price accordingly. And that way, when you're in your budget making process, you can kind of understand how much your products actually cost. So then you can kind of allocate your money in different ways, knowing how much you're actually spending. Tip number 3, let's talk banking and business credit cards. So first thing you're going to want to do is pick a bank that has business-friendly cost. For example, we used to use a bank that was kind of local to us that was very expensive. It had like minimums that you had to keep in the bank account at all times that you could not touch. So starting out as a business, that was really like hard on me to have to hold thousands of dollars in a bank account, not touching it, just sitting there. And that was not going to work for me. So I started looking around and I found a credit union locally. And credit unions are usually smaller branches that have very business-friendly cost. And so that's something to look into is just kind of shop around and get an idea of a business-friendly bank and open up a business bank account. So next thing I wanted to say is don't use your bank account to buy all of your purchases. Get a business credit card. So the reason why this is so important is a lot of business credit cards have where all you have to do is put your business name in there, your EIN number, and all those things, and you can have extra perks and points and money back on the things that you buy for your business. Some are better for shipping labels, some are better for material costs, some are great all around, but regardless, if you're using that card to buy your shipping labels, using that card to buy all of the expenses and everything that you need for your business, and then at the end of the month, you pay that card off using your then business bank account money, you're doing it all right. So that is a great way to save is by using a business credit card. That is definitely so important, you guys. You save so much money doing that. Money is just being wasted if you're just using your debit card and your bank account because you're not getting any points and that's not earning anything for you. So if that's a really important tip that I would definitely say to utilize. Tip number 4, use shipping websites like Pirate Ship to save money on label cost. You guys, this is so important because I don't know if you know this, but if you shop locally, like let's say you wanted to buy your label at the post office or buy your label online via the post office or via UPS, you're going to pay actually like 30% higher doing that rather than just buying them on Pirate Ship, ShipStation, a website like that because they have all of their stuff discounted. So it is very, very important and you save a lot of money doing that. Like I said, I think it's like 30%. It's kind of crazy. And even Etsy labels, you save a little bit on. So just using another platform other than the actual shipping companies, if that makes sense. And in turn, you can use your business credit card to then pay for those labels and get the points or the cash back for those. Tip number 5, purchasing items and buying in bulk. So the first thing I should say is do your research, look local, try and find the best deals because I promise you this might take a little bit of time, but once you do that, you're going to save so much money. And also checking to see what's local to you. For example, we have a Uline and a Granger and places like that close to us so that when we order our shipping materials, we can drive to pick them up, which saves hundreds of dollars on shipping cost. So that's a perk to kind of like having places kind of local to you is you can do that. Another example I can think of is we sell wood products. So we buy lots of sheets of wood. And so I used to go to Home Depot and buy the wood, kind of take my chances on that. And I was actually spending so much more money buying it there because we found a local like mom and pop lumber yard and we buy our wood now. We buy it in bulk and we save so much money doing that. So just shop around, look around, call around, and you will end up saving way more money than you think you will just doing that. So next is to negotiate your prices and buy in bulk. So doing this will save you guys so much money. I know it's a little bit more of an upfront cost, but how much you save, it really honestly pays off. And like I mentioned before, when we are buying our wood, we buy it in bulk. So we buy big bundles where it comes with like 160 sheets of wood at a time. And luckily we have a great relationship with our supplier. He's amazing. I'll text him. He'll have it ready in a day or two. We go pick it up and we're good to go. So I definitely highly recommend if you can, if you have the space, if you have the finances to do so, buy in bulk because you will thank yourself and you will make more profits per item if you buy in bulk. And sometimes when you're buying in bulk too, you can negotiate your prices depending on just demand, things like that. It never hurts to ask. They're used to it, you guys. So when you have a local supplier, just talk to them. See if you can negotiate your prices a little bit, see what the lowest that you can get. And obviously that depends on a lot of factors, but that is something that you can do and you won't look silly doing it. Next tip to save money is try and utilize off brands when you can. For example, things like ink, labels, paper, things you buy a lot for your business. See if there's a way that you can use not the top, name brand things because a lot of times the off brands do just as good, sometimes if not better of a job than the name brands. And tools are another example. Like you don't have to have the top of the line tools to get the job done. So just remember that when you're thinking of how you can cut cost, look and see if there are things in brands that maybe you've never tried before and try it out and see if you can save a little bit of money doing that. Tip number 6, let's identify hidden cost and let's talk about subscriptions a little bit. Subscriptions are a great thing. I use them for my business. I think that sometimes it can save you so much time and really help your business, but sometimes it can hurt your business and hurt your profits if some things aren't considered. So one way to save money is to pay yearly versus monthly for subscriptions. And obviously sometimes, and I do this too, if I want to try something out, I'll do it like a month or two just to see if I like it. But if I know that I'm going to be using it for my business, I want to pay upfront, like a yearly fee or whatever, because you save so much. For example, Canva, I save $60 a year paying yearly versus monthly. For my website, I use Wix, I save hundreds of dollars paying for 2 years to 3 years upfront. I save hundreds of dollars doing it that way versus paying monthly. So that's something you want to consider. If this is something that you are using for your business and you know you're going to continue using for at least a year, pay up front. It will be worth it down the line. Like I said, think about the end goal. Like you're saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and that can be very worth it. If you're not truly benefiting from the subscription, and I have this problem a lot, sometimes I forget that I have it on there and you can cancel it. So go in there and try and identify all the subscriptions that you're paying for. Figure out what are you actually using, what is benefiting you. If there are free versions of what you're using that maybe you don't use a lot, for example, Canva is you can pay for it, but you can also use the free version. So is that something that, are you using all the pro elements? Do you really need to be paying for it? Can you use the free version? So that's a good thing to do is I recommend like laying it all out, seeing what you're paying for and seeing what you use the most versus what do you maybe only use once or twice a year. Probably not worth it to buy the subscription. So that's a way to save money for sure. Tip number 7, organization and tax tips. So this is something that is super important in your business is to have an organizational flow, have a plan, have something laid out because we all know time is money. And when you have more time in your day, you can therefore make more profits. And I know for me, when I'm distracted, because it happens to me quite often, it throws my whole day off. Like if one thing comes up, I'll just be distracted for hours. So here's some time saving tips and ways to kind of help your day go a little bit smoother. So setting a schedule / work hours and sticking to it. I know this helps me a lot. I know that I'm going to be busy from this time to this time, and I need to stick to that schedule, because if I don't, sometimes it can throw me off a little bit, and schedules really help me and my brain focus a little bit better. Next would be to maybe put your phone on do not disturb mode. Sometimes this can help a lot. Maybe have it set up to certain people can text you or call you if they need it. But a lot of times that can help just you not be distracted a little bit. And for me, something that really helps me is to listen to like a podcast or music versus watching something, because when I'm like watching a show while I'm working, I can get really distracted. So I found that if I just put something on, put my headphones in, and get in my zone, I'm good to go. So maybe that will help you a little bit too. Another thing that's really helped me is meal planning or prepping your lunches ahead of time. So if you spend the time to maybe like at the beginning of the week, meal prep and know what you're gonna have every day, when you go in for your lunch break, you can make your lunches and eat and leave. And you don't have to go in and figure out, what am I gonna eat today? Who else is with me on that? It's so hard to decide. Sometimes you're like, I don't know what to make for lunch. And then you stand there for like 10 minutes trying to think, and you're like looking in the fridge, looking in the pantry, and you're like, I don't know what to eat. So if you kind of have an idea in mind for that, that saves you a lot of time. So in turn, like I said, all these time saving things, and there might be different things that work for you, will in turn help you make more money because you're not spending as much time working, and that gives you more creative freedom. Okay, so now piggybacking from that, we're gonna talk about staying organized, because staying organized, if you're not organized, it can lead to a little bit of chaos, and I don't do well in chaos. Like when things are like all over the place, I feel like it makes me all over the place. So the first thing I should say to do is try and keep your inventory up. So making sure you set a time per week or per month, whatever you feel comfortable with, and keeping track of your inventory, because that can lead to unexpected costs when you realize, like, let's say I have 3 cans of spray paint I like to keep per week of this color, and let's say I used all of them and I'm down to this much of my pink, and then I run out. That's gonna either lead to me having to go to the store and get more, order some right then, and that leads to unexpected costs and unexpected time, and it's just a hassle. So staying organized is your best friend, and if you can manage that, that will be amazing. Just sit down at the beginning of your month, and just kind of like plan everything out and help. I know it sounds like some people don't work well like that, but I feel like organization will help you kind of flow a little bit better. You can also utilize a lot of online tools to help you with organization. I know I personally purchased the Paper and Spark spreadsheets for my Etsy shop, and that really helps me at the end of the week or the end of the month. If I go in and upload the CSV file from Etsy to the forms or to the spreadsheet, everything integrates. It's great. I feel good. I feel like I got my stuff done. And then if you want, you can also do your inventory. But there's a lot of tools that you can either pay for or even free online, and apps for your phone that you can keep track of different things. So that's another great way to stay organized. And another way to save money, which a lot of people don't like to do, and I really don't like taxes, but doing your own accounting. So I do my own accounting just in the sole purpose of, I just haven't found an accountant yet. I know that sounds horrible, but I spend a lot of time doing it myself, and I probably save a lot doing it myself. But organization is key to that. I keep my spreadsheets, I have my apps on my phone, have all those things that you use, and just keep track of making sure you keep all your receipts, you upload your expenses, you know exactly what's going in, the money that's going into your business, the money that's going out of your business, and all of that. And then when you're ready, you can get an accountant. We're at a point we probably really need an accountant, because it would probably save me a lot of time. But that's something that does save a lot of money, because accountants can be kind of expensive and tax professionals can be kind of expensive, but it can be a necessary cost if you're not comfortable doing it yourself. So that's one of those things you kind of have to weigh out. Like, do you want to pay for that? Is it in your budget to pay for that, or not? But you can definitely learn it and figure out how to do your own accounting, and it can save you a good bit of money. Tip number 8, evaluate your waste. So believe it or not, as small businesses, we have a lot of wasteful habits that we do as small business owners. And so it's important to kind of evaluate what are some ways that you can improve and cut out some of those wasteful habits that are actually costing you a lot of money. So here's an example. So we spray paint a lot of our wood signs, and we came to find that we were using a lot of white and a lot of black. So come to find that we were able to use gallon paint for white and black, and cut out so much of that wasteful spending on spray paint cans. Because you guys know, spray paint cans are expensive. So that helps a lot with cost, and obviously the quality is still amazing. So if you can do things like that, that really helps. And also with packaging, like, are there ways that you can save on packaging and different methods and ways that you can package that will save you money? Because when I first started, I was using way too expensive cardboard. I was not packaging it correctly, and we were wasting a lot of scrap cardboard. So we came to find a way that almost has virtually no waste and really helps us out in our business and saves us a lot of money. So those are just two examples, but really evaluate your business and see, are you wasting time, money, energy doing certain habits in your business, and how can you help it and how can you make it better? Tip number 9, do it yourself. So let's get real. We're all DIYers. We can do things ourselves, you guys. And there are a lot of things that we can do to cut down costs too. So for example, if you're a sign maker like me and you buy your own wood in bulk, we buy 4x8 sheets. Can you cut those sheets down by yourself? Are you able to do that so you don't have to pay somebody to do it? I know that there are some businesses that pay the lumber yards to cut them down to size for you, but I don't know if you know how much more you can save doing it yourself. So that is definitely something that really saves a lot of money. If you order like thank you cards or any kind of paper goods that go into your products, make them yourself. You can use Canva, PicMonkey, sites like that, and you can literally design. They even have templates that you can autofill to your specifics and print it out using cardstock. You can go down to the craft store, get some cardstock and print it out. I have a really not expensive printer and it does a great job just printing out our thank you cards. And guys, most of the time they're probably gonna get thrown away anyway. So even just using regular printer paper, sometimes we do that too. And just printing a nice little thank you card. They get the point, you're thanking them. You can make that yourself and cut out a lot of costs because those can get kind of pricey if you order them yourself. And you can also use sometimes your label printers to make stickers. Like if you have a sticker that you want to add to the top of your package, things like that, you can make them yourself, buy your own rolls of stickers, and that saves a lot of money too. Next DIY would be doing your own maintenance. So maintenance is extremely important when it comes to our machinery for our businesses. Do maintenance because we all know, for one, if you pay somebody to do maintenance, that gets costly. And for two, if you don't do maintenance at all and you just say, well, I'm not going to do it, you're going to maybe have something break and then you're going to spend thousands of dollars and then it's going to be a real big bummer because your business might be down and then you're really out a lot of money and then you have to buy the parts. So just do your own maintenance if you can. It's pretty easy a lot of the times if you watch some tutorials and YouTube videos. I know for me, I didn't know anything about maintaining a laser, but I learned it all watching YouTubes and looking at the Facebook groups and all that. So you can do it if you put your mind to it. And I realize as your business grows, you're gonna have times where you need to outsource help and you can't do it all yourself. So I just want you to keep this in mind. I know I'm not telling you have to do everything yourself. These are just some ideas of maybe you can brainstorm and say, are these things that I can do myself? Like, can I add a couple hours a week onto this to do this to save money? So these are just some ideas of things that you can do yourself, but I just don't want you to take it as, well, I'm too busy, I can't do it myself. Yes, sometimes it is important to outsource help, but just these are some ideas for the people that are wanting to cut costs a little bit. Tip number 10, find creative ways to make your current space work. So there are a lot of super high cost into growth, right? And I had a video that I talked about this a little bit, but growth comes with increased money, right? You have to pay more money when you grow. And so sometimes it's important to try and figure out how to make your current space work. If you love working from home, if you don't really want to go and rent a warehouse, you don't really, have the means to grow right now, there are ways that you can make your current space work. For us, for example, we dealt with that this year. We were like, we're gonna have to grow or we're gonna have to scale back a little bit or we're gonna have to figure out how to make this work. I really love working from home. I wanted to make it work for right now, so that's what we plan to do. And what we're gonna be doing is making our current space work a little bit. We might gut it out a little bit. We might add some new shelving. We might do some things to make it work. So get creative. Think about your current area, your current house, your current space that you're using to work in, and think of how you can use creative ways to store your materials and store your workspace, right? For example, in our old house, we had a lot of a smaller house and I would have to be really creative with my things. I utilized under beds. I would put like our packaging things in bins and store them under our beds. You can utilize garage space. You can utilize closets. You can utilize just different things that you have depending on your area, and just make it work if you can. Eventually, yes, you might grow it out or you might have to scale back, but I want you to think about the costs that go into growth. How much rent are you going to have to pay when you rent that warehouse? Is that cost worth it to you to then have to like move all of your stuff out and pay more cost? Or are you okay with not spending that and keeping it working in your current space? So it's different for everybody. Everybody has different dreams, everybody has different goals, but these are for the people that are wanting to make their current space work. So that's what I wanted to throw out there, that kind of get creative with your space so that you can save money and not having to move your stuff into storage or move your stuff into your current space, and get creative and crafty with that. I hope that makes sense. But I know that's a big thing for people, is that really cuts into cost. When you grow and you move into a warehouse or space like that, you're going to have a really high cost associated to that. And sometimes people don't want to do that, and that's okay too. So that is another way you could cut back. It's just making your current space work. All right, y'all, so that pretty much sums up today's video on saving money as a small business owner. I hope that y'all enjoyed those 10 tips. If you found any of them helpful, please let me know down in the comments. Let me know if there are any that you plan on utilizing, or let me know if there's some extra tips that you have that have helped you save money in your small business down below. I'm sure there will be so many people that find it helpful as well. And yes, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I cannot believe we're going into 2025 here in a couple weeks. Absolutely insane. I hope that you guys had a very successful Q4, and here's to a great and successful 2025 with your business. And I can't wait for all of the content coming up. I can't wait to share these things with you guys. And yeah, I hope that y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.